you remember, when we talked about slope back in the day, what letter do we use to stand for slope in math?
Y.
No, the big letter M.
Got it.
Because in the linear equation slope-intercept form, the generic form of that y equals mx plus b. Do you remember that? The letter m stands for the slope. That's what number goes in front of the x. Slope is m. Slope is also the rise over the run, right? Or how far up the line goes compared to its over. In reality, what it is how high a line goes. If you think about a graph and you think about the line on it, and you making a triangle from that line. Remember how we made triangles like this? Made a right triangle. The slope was how high the triangle is. That's called its rise. But it is also the change in altitude of that. It is also the change in y. What's happened on the y-axis? How much has y changed? Well, it went from here up to here, right? That distance right there, 2. And that is over the change in x, which is this distance from here to here. Or from there to there, matters not. Which leads us to the slope formula, which is just this. If you're looking for change, you know, if your salary went from $75 an hour to $100 an hour, which is close to what mine is at this point in time, and I asked you what the change in your salary was, what would the change in your salary be? How much did your salary change?
$25.
How did you figure that out? You subtract it. So if you're looking for the change in y, which by the way, when you get to upper level math, they'll put this little triangle figure there. It's called the delta. It's delta y over delta x, but you don't need to know that, nor would you ever care. To find the change in y, you just don't write that down because it's going to do nothing but confuse you. The change in y looks like this. Slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Michelle Hammer loves that formula. I can tell by the look on her face. You will be smarter today than you were yesterday, just so you know.
How does that have anything to do with the money?
Well, it's just to get you to know that when we talk about change, change is subtraction. Okay? Now, please understand this. Oh, back to the blackboard. Please understand this one small fact here. There is a difference in math between subscripts and superscripts. Just like when you say, I'm not superstitious, I'm just a little stitious. Remember that one from? Who knows that? Claire. I don't know. Oh, Michael Scott. Now you know where we're at. Oh, back to that. There's a difference between superscripts and subscripts. Subscripts are just a label. They don't mean anything. Superscripts is like squaring something. Y sub 2 is different than y squared. Y squared means you take y times y. Y sub 2 is just another way to label things, because in order to do this problem, I really don't like that. I'm getting rid of it. Anybody against it?
That's what.
I'm against getting rid of this. What this means is this. Usually when you find slope, you're given the line and you have to do all that drawing the triangle sort of thing. Now, they're going to give you 2 points. For example, they're going to say 1 point is, stop it. They're going to say 1 point is 3, 4, and the other point on the line is, let's say 1, 8. And they're going to ask you for what is the slope of this. Well, before, you could sit down and graph these 2 points. Oh, sure, let's do that. You can graph those 2 points which means you have what, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a point there. 1, 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. You can graph your line and then draw a triangle and see what the slope is, or you can use the slope formula. And the reason why there's sub 2's and sub 1's is because you have 2 x's and you have 2 y's. And you have to be able to keep them straight. And it doesn't matter which one you label as which one as long as you are consistent with it. In other words, this. If I am making these my sub 1's, I have to make these my sub 2's. I can't make, see this is an x value, right? I'm going to call this x sub 1. If this is x sub 1, then this has to be y sub 1. I can't call this x sub 1 and that y sub 2 because this is my 1's. This is going to be x sub 2 and this is going to be y sub 2. I could have made these sub 2's as long as they were both sub 2's and these sub 1's as long as they're both sub 1's, but you can't flip and say this is 1 and that's a 2. You just have some 2 ways of keeping those 2 points. You'll get the same answer whether you do it one way or another. So it's just a different way of labeling it so you keep them straight. Alex?
Can you take 4 and 8 and those so you don't have to 1 and 2?
Can I do what?
Take 4 and 8 and divide them by 4 each.
No. This has nothing to do with proportions or solving like that. You have to label these numbers, label these 2 points, and you plug them into this formula. Okay? And please do yourself a favor and don't cut corners. When you do this, you definitely want to draw, you want to put parentheses there. Slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Because if you don't do that, a lot of times you get your positives and your negatives mixed up. Not in this case, but later you will. So, y sub 2 I called 8. This was my y sub 2, so I put an 8 there. Y sub 1 I called 4, so I put the 4 there. X sub 2 I called 1. And x sub 1 I called 3. So the slope of my line is going to be whatever 8 minus 4 is over whatever 1 minus 3 is, which is a negative 2. So my slope actually ends up being negative 2 when it's all simplified. And had I done this, did I do that right? If I had drawn my thing right, I'm sure I would have come up with a triangle that was 2 over 1. I'm sure I goofed up somewhere there. What did I do? Because it wasn't.
What's that?
What's that? No, but I should have come up closer than that. I would have thought. But, oh, wait, points needed here. Well, let me graph the line for real just to make sure it's right. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh, 8 should have been way up here. So my triangle is going to be 2y over 4 high. If you did it, would be 4 over 2, and it's going downhill, so it's a negative 2 slope. So, what that means is now you no longer have to draw the triangle, you can just take the 2 slopes and figure out what your thing is here. You can also, let me see if they give you this as a problem. No, they don't. You're lucky. You are very, very lucky today. Let me give you one. See if you can figure that out with the slope formula. Let's say I give you negative 3, negative 4, and 3, 0. Negative 3, negative 4, and the point 3, comma 0. Can you take the slope formula and plug those 2 points in and tell me what the slope of that line is? See if you are able. And again, it doesn't matter which ones you put are the sub 2's and the sub 1's as long as you're consistent and they're both points are there. No, the x values have to be. The first value is always x. You can't mix up the x and the y's. When you graph a point, it's always x, y, always. Now which ones you call the sub 1's and the sub 2's doesn't matter, but the x's and the y's do. It's so much time, so little to do. Oh, I am going to make a law after we finish this constitution thing. We won't do social studies for the rest of the year. We're just going to take an hour and a half to do math. If we really want to post it on the wall,
Let's do it.
let's do it. I wish I could. We have to know about these great contributors and the national debt. I wonder if it's changed.
Oh, wow.
What happened to our pop? Anything?
Oh, yeah, that's way up.
Hey, more people are up.
Like 20
A
more people.
lot of more
Yeah,
people
they're like
got insurance.
A lot more people
Good for
are-
them.
Let's not talk politics today.
Insurance is a good thing.
Do we get an answer with slope? Anybody get a slope answer? You should be done. And again, human nature is gonna tell you wanna just like do this in your head because it's only subtraction, but I'm gonna tell you with positive and negatives you will. I guarantee you will make mistakes if you don't take your time and put those parentheses in there. It goes without being said. Do you have an answer?
Yeah.
How many people have answers? Which is not difficult, and you shouldn't need a calculator to do this math. Taylor Rice says, what is it? Anybody else with 1/3? Watson says 1/3. Somebody got something else? Ryan got
-3/2.
-3/2. Anybody else with -3/2? See, so far, Ryan, did you use parentheses?
Yes.
Maggie, what'd you get? 2/3. Anybody else? Uh-oh. I see a smaller majority. Anybody get anything besides those three? David?
-4.
You can't get 0 on the bottom.
Maybe
That was-
-4.
Well,
No. It's not even possible.
here's the deal. Let me tell you. If you get 0 on the bottom, what does your line look like if you get a 0 on the bottom? If you get a 0 on the bottom of your fraction, that means your change in x was nothing. That would be a straight up and down vertical line would give you 0 on the bottom. And that's called undefined slope because you can't have zeros on the bottom of fractions. So that won't happen because the only way, David, to get a 0 on the bottom would be for both of your x's to be the exact same number because you're subtracting one from the other.
First commandment.
You should have gotten, well, it doesn't matter, 3 minus 3, you should have gotten a -6 on the bottom, of your whatever, right? Or 6. 6 or -6, one of these. Anyways, so here's what it is, kids.
Wait, is it y on top and x on the bottom?
Changing y
Oh,
over
that's why.
changing
Oh,
y over
dang
changing
it.
x, that's our deal.
That's
Remember,
y.
slope is delta, changing y over delta.
I did x over y.
So it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You don't have to write all that down, but you really should identify your numbers, and I don't care. I'm gonna do it just for fun. I'm gonna make this the 2's and these the 1's. x2, y2, x1, y1. It does not matter. You'll get the same answer. Parenthesis, 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 parenthesis. X's, y2 is -4. y1 was 0. x2 -3, and x1 3. You end up with -4 minus 0 is just a -4. -3 minus 3 is a -6. 2 negatives make it positive. It's a 2/3 slope. 2/3 slope. Tell me where and why you got that wrong besides putting the wrong one on top and bottom.
I just left it as a -4.
How many people actually got it?
Wait, how did you get a -6?
What's a -3?
Oh, I had,
This isn't multiplication, kids. This is subtraction. -3 minus 3 is a -6. There it goes. You add a negative to a negative, you get a bigger negative. Kind of like our debt. Case in point. Look, right now we keep adding negative numbers. What do we keep getting? More debt, more debt, more debt, more debt, higher debt.
oh, there's more people in the world.
A lot more people.
And why don't you just keep that
Not in the
going?
world
A
necessarily.
lot more people what? Unemployed?
They're growing like an infection.
Logan comes up with the saying for the day. Hopefully we've moved on. Alright, one more. Let's do -2, 7, 2, -9. -2, 7, 2, -9. Can you tell me what slope is? Alright, the magic moment we've all waited for. Kayleen Shellhammer says,
1/2.
somebody got a 1/2 slope. Anybody? Brooke Kala? Slope of 4. Anybody on Brooke Kala? Ooh, this is gonna get interesting. We've got a split decision here. Maggie? -4? Oh my gosh. You've got Mr. 266 on your side though. Anybody else got one other they want to throw in the pot? Everybody could be wrong. Cam? Huh? A normal 2. Why is that funny? It's no different how the rest of yours. Look, that's the opposite of this. Flipped over. Again, doesn't matter how you label them, as long as the X's are there and the Y's there. I'm gonna go X1, Y1 this time, X2, Y2 that time, doesn't matter. Parenthesis, minus parenthesis, over parenthesis, minus parenthesis. These are the Y's, so -9 minus 7. Here's where the positives, by the way, this is way above Mr. Tenton's.
2 negatives make positive.
Wait,
No, it's not -7.
It's
It's just
multiplied.
7.
Sorry, just 7.
Or subtract.
And then on the bottom, I was just checking on you. I got all clusters and big lost in there. 2 minus a -2. So on top you end up with a -16 over 4,
4. C told you.
which is a -4 answer.
That was so slow.
I remember slope.
You should have him do the next one.
Have them do what?
The next one.
That's right.
It's still on my desk in that right front corner.
Right in the front corner.
Well, as you're looking at the desk from sitting in it. It's right there, the closest corner you'll come to.
Was it the big massive one or was there a smaller one?
I think it's the one I got right there. You need a small one?
Why it was needed?
Well, there's another one in the upper file cabinet drawer.
Okay.
We are closed now. Oh, no.